Okay, so today is October 1st and the burn ban has been lifted effective today. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this burn pile going here that I've been stacking up for a while. So as you can see, it's kind of a mixture of some old lumber and there's some tree debris in there, most of it being pine, which that's gonna be, that stuff burns really good and really fast and really hot. So what I normally do is I'll soak some areas in diesel, like you can see here, and some other areas around the pile, and I let it soak in diesel for a little bit, and then I got some paper in a few areas, and I'm gonna go ahead and get that lit, and then I'll use my leaf blower to get some air going to it, and it should get it going pretty good. I got my first little section going here, and should start taking off. These 2x4s and lumber will burn up, should start spreading pretty quick. So I literally just set this one over here and lit it, and because it's all the pine, it's gonna start blazing here. So, which is good. It's kind of having this in the burn pile it does definitely get it going. So this is literally like not even 5 minutes yet, and it's going really good. I had to end up moving my tractor a little ways away because it gets hot, and there's a lot of embers and stuff coming out. So just want to be careful with having things too close to it. Me personally, so I have a fire extinguisher out here just in case. There's a lot of grass out here, and it's all green, and it's pretty damp too. That's why I'm burning it early in the morning, just for that reason. But you really got to just watch where the embers are going, kind of keep an eye on, make sure they're not flying somewhere else and catching a fire, maybe another tree or something like that. So see, this flame is getting really tall, and this is normal. I've had some big burn piles like this in the past. That's why I moved this one out into a more open area. When we were building the house, I had one probably 50 feet from the house, and that was a little too close for comfort. So what I did too, I took my box blade, because the grass is getting pretty tall out here, and I went around the whole perimeter of the burn pile. And this is why. Let me show you. See how the grass is already starting to catch on fire? Yeah, so I don't want that spreading through my pasture. So by having the little perimeter here, it should keep it all pretty safe. But you can see down in there, it's just going to burn this grass right up. Once it gets to the dirt, it won't be able to spread any further. But you definitely want to have a defensible space anytime you're doing a burn pile. So this is going pretty good. It should burn up pretty fast at this rate. So the other thing I want to point out too is, before you burn, and again, I'm no expert at this. These are just the precautions I take before I do a burn pile. So check the wind. Make sure it's not going to be a windy day. As you can see, it's very still here today. Trees aren't moving. There was a bit of a wind early this morning, and I almost was going to not do this, but it stopped, and it stayed down. So that's the last thing you want is for wind to pick up, and that'll really carry your flame into areas that you don't want to be burned. And I also keep a shovel on hand, just in case if it does start getting in the grass. You don't need to use a fire extinguisher. If it's a small area, you can just throw some dirt on it. So I keep a shovel nearby for that reason. But this is pretty much taking care of itself. I'm literally less than 20 minutes into this burn, and as you can see, it's doing really good. So I'm pretty new at doing burn piles. I probably did my first one about a year ago. So when I first bought this property, and did some research myself, and just to see what the best way was to do it. This was actually just 2 of the burn spots where I soaked in diesel. The first one that I actually used some paper to light it and used my leaf blower, it wasn't taking off very well. The other area where I purposely put some diesel on some pine straw and pine needles and branches, that just took off, and that's literally what's taking care of this entire pile. So that mixed with the lumber, it's doing pretty good. Now we're at 25 minutes since I lit the first match, and it's coming down pretty good. Just to give you some idea, this size of this burn pile originally was about probably 20 feet long by about 15 feet wide and about 8 to 10 feet tall. So it doesn't take long to get down through the bulk of it. Once this gets down to where it's no longer has a flame, where it's just coals mostly, is I'll get my I use the bucket of my tractor and go kind of start pushing everything into the middle and getting it more, you know, confined and letting everything kind of burn up. But I definitely don't like doing it though until there's I'll wait for all the flames to be gone, let it cool down a bit. I'm probably a good at least 20 feet away from this right now, and it's hot. I mean, that's what my face is really red. I mean, it's just the heat from it is pretty intense. Okay, now we're about an hour and 20 minutes after I started the burn, and I just consolidated this with my bucket on my tractor into a much smaller pile, and that's it. It's pretty much done. It's just gonna continue to burn out and just be a pile of ash. So hope that was helpful to you. Again, I'm really new at this, and it's been kind of trial, I mean, not really trial and error. This is, it's pretty simplistic, really. I've watched a couple YouTube videos before doing my first burn pile, but definitely not something, you know, don't be afraid of it. I think of fire like I do the ocean. You know, it's you don't have to be afraid of it, but definitely respect it, because it can turn on you in an instant. So just be prepared when you're doing a burn pile. Have everything you need in case of an emergency. You know, protect yourself, protect your property, and everything should go fine.